Can you repeat the question for us on here that can't hear it?
The question is like this. The question is, we're learning a lot about the idea of souls who are able to picture godliness in a very vivid way. And the question is, we're using two words to describe the seemingly same experience. We're using the word das to describe this experience. We're saying there are some souls which are called seed of man, and these souls are gifted like a human being to have a vivid perception of Hashem in a very real way, and they have das. And we brought another teaching of our sages, which is using a different word. The other word is, who is wise? He who can see the birth. And we explained that the word wise means the power of Chachma, and the seeing the birth means seeing how the world is being recreated every moment. So we're using two words which are very different in the spheres. Chachma is in one place, Das is in another place, and we're using them both to describe the same experience of seeing Hashem. So to the untrained ear, okay, so it's two words describe the same experience, but Mark picked up this thing, made that this is not the same thing, and we have to figure out what exactly we're talking about over here. So thank you very much for bringing that up, and let's try to get some insight into this. Let's first of all do the orangutan, gorilla, zebra thing that Michal Marchai didn't want to do.
Forget Judaism for a second. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. These three words. No. Get your das out of here. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. In English, a professor. You can know information, but you don't have a broad knowledge of it. A professor takes one concept and he delivers thousands of lectures, thousands of different courses, all talking about the same thing, all these different angles. Okay? So that is not the same as just knowing facts. That's not the same as looking up Wikipedia and thinking like now you're ready to go be,
Okay, so give some geography now to what you're saying. There is the ability, geography and some history. There is your first insight to an idea. That's the power of Chachma. Your first insight, your ability to create, to be creative, your ability to create new ideas. That's the power of Chachma. Chachma is in general the power of introducing an idea, creating an idea, or it's called in Kabbalah the lightning flash, where you suddenly have insight into something and you're trying to figure it out, and suddenly your mind was open, like, oh, that's what this means. You're sitting upstairs with Rabbi Reber, you're trying to figure out the Gemara, and he's explaining, and suddenly you go, oh, I got it. Archimedes jumping out of the bathtub.
They sort of have an idea, but not really knowing it.
Right. Now, 1 second, that's Chachma. Chachma is an initial insight into something. Bina, in English, I would use the word conception, the ability to conceive an idea or create an idea. Archimedes, he jumped out of the bathtub. He knows he has something going, but he doesn't know exactly what he has yet. He jumped out of the bathtub. He ran naked in the streets of Rome, right? I think it was Rome, wherever it was, ancient Greece, wherever it was. And he, smachstel. And he suddenly has this insight. And he passed him a sefer, and despite the fact that he has this insight, doesn't know yet what he knows. He knows something, doesn't know what he knows. Then there's a power of bina. Bina is to take the idea that you do know already and to develop in detail and to know exactly what is that information that you know. That's I will use the word comprehension. The ability to comprehend an idea.
Okay, in 1937, Winston Churchill had a very premonition that Hitler was building up his forces. He didn't know war was going to happen, but he believed it. This is before Poland. He had an idea. Let's talk about it.
Good example. Let's try to go with that example. I'll get back to that example in a second.
He believed very strong.
Very good example, perhaps, and let's go back to that example in a minute. There is ability to comprehend an idea, and then there is, besides comprehending an idea, there's the ability to connect with it in a very vivid way. The Torah uses the expression to describe physical intimacy with between a husband and wife as knowledge. The Torah says Adam knew Eve. The Torah is talking about, it's as if the Torah is shy to talk about physical intimacy. The Torah uses that word to describe physical intimacy. Why? Because the word knowledge in Hebrew means to deeply feel and connect with something. That's what the word das means. Das means to deeply feel and connect with something. That's the word. We're using the word das mostly. And your question was, how come we're also using the word chachma? And what is the difference between chachma and das, correct? Okay. So there is a discussion in Chassidus about a certain passage in the Talmud. The passage in Talmud goes like this. It says that there was an argument about the laws of Yantiv, and Rav has his opinion, the other sages have their opinion, and the other sages present proofs for their opinion. And Rav, although he has nothing to respond to them, their proofs are accepted in his mind. He has nothing to respond. He does not admit that they're correct. He knows that he's correct. How did he know he was correct if his knowledge didn't tell him, if he doesn't have logic to know that's correct? What is that power? That power is the power of Chachma. That's the power of Chachma, the power to creating an idea. The power of creating an idea is associated with going to the very core of an idea, the essence of the idea, the pristine core of an idea without it being explained, without it being undeveloped. Just that he has this insight that you're saying about Churchill, that Churchill was convinced this is the way things are going to go, and that's Chachma. And so Rav, although Rav has other logical reasons why you should stop, he says no. I know this is the truth, right? That's Chachma. I know this analogy is correct, but let's use Churchill for a second. Churchill said that the idea of success is not the idea of being sticking to your target. The idea of success is going from failure to failure, and after going from one failure to another failure, still holding on to with the same energy as before, the same excitement to going towards your goal after you're going from one failure to another. So in the energy part is not chachma. Let's say we have a Jewish court. Okay, so in a Jewish court, there is there are different opinions about something, and you have your opinion, everyone else has their opinion. You have a reason why you're convinced of your opinion, and everything's still fluid right now. Everything's still fluid. There's no ruling yet, but there could be a point, and you're having a discussion. You could hear everyone else's opinion. You have yours, and things are still fluid. But then there comes a point, not just where you have this vision to the pristine truth of something, but you develop it logically. And not only do you develop it logically, you actually feel it as a human being, this is the right thing. I think that in order to be able to go to war with it with the same energy, as Churchill said, it's not just being able to look at the pristine truth of it. It's actually to feel it in your bones, to be animated by it, to be alive with it. So that's what das is. Das is not just you have a ability to go, like you said, prophetic vision. Like you have this sixth sense. This is the truth. That's the chachma. Chachma is the ability to go to the pristine truth of something. Chachma is
you don't know it categorically, but you have a strong sense.
Right. Right, and you know it in a very pristine, deep way, but it's not something that you feel in your heart, because it's more about, let's use this analogy, it's more about you jumping towards the idea versus bringing the idea to you in your heart and feeling it. That's das.
So Churchill had das.
So perhaps, I don't know Churchill, but let's say, for argument's sake, for as use this analogy, let's say before the war started, he had some inkling this is the way things are going to go,
Yeah.
and then this going forward, despite all the losses, that energy is a das kind of energy.
He went forward.
And going forward, despite everything, that requires energy. That requires stamina. That requires being steadfast. That requires a real conviction in something. So I think that animation is more about das, being animated by something in a way that you're alive and you're going forward with it. Not just you have a sixth sense just that something is true, but that you're animated and you feel it in your bones in a very vivid way. That's das is, let's say this. Chachma is about you jumping towards something, jumping away from yourself towards something, towards getting towards the truth. And das is about how something becomes literally part of your persona and you actually feel that way.
You take action.
You take action as a second step, it's a consequence. But before you take action, you actually feel differently about it as a human being. not just you jump away from yourself towards the truth, but the truth becomes your experience. You could jump away from yourself and try to hear, let's say you're learning a new concept and you're able to understand what the person is saying, okay? And you had this insight, and that's a power of Chachma. You just, that's amazing. But now for it to become part of the way you feel as a human being, a different experience. A different experience. You could learn that you're supposed to thank Hashem for everything. You're supposed to, and you think that's a wonderful concept, and there's a truth there. And then you could actually not just you could know that as a truth, but you could, through living it with this and talking about it and having friends who think the same way, and day by day and looking at different things that are happening in your life, you could feel it. Or as we were discussing yesterday about divine providence, you were saying that you don't see necessarily miracles happening every day, right? But there are, and I was countering that by saying that you could see acts of divine providence in your life if you look for them. I challenged you, if you remember, to tell me to go back to your last day and last week and think about if you've seen divine providence and things connect in your life that you have. I don't know if you're saying that now. I'm giving you a homework. Now today is Friday. I want you back here on Sunday and tell me that you thought about it and you didn't discover anything. Okay? Homework. Divine providence. Dots connecting. Seeing God's hand in things. Okay? Challenge. Think about it. You just moved to a new place. I know there's myriads of things involved moving to a new place. Myriads of things. So I want to hear how you saw God's hand in that working out. And no answer. Don't answer right now. Survey says stay for 48 hours and then come back to me when you tell me how you saw something in Hashem's hand. Okay.
I see every second. I have a beautiful poster of what the world will be like when Mashiach comes. And I stare at that.
Just look at Yonatan.
I did.
You could just see Hashgacha Pratis radiating.
Absolutely.
Does that
But
count?
no, that's more like Chachma. That's more like Chachma because that's, you know, a truth. You know what is a truth. You know Mashiach's going to come as a truth. I want to know how you feel it as a human being. As you feel it. You said a bracha on your drink, right?
Yeah.
A bracha on your drink that's more like a Chachma. You know it's the right thing to do. You know it's the right thing to do. Then there is, I actually feel, wow, this cup of coffee came from God. That's a different. I feel it. Thank you, Hashem.
You got to think all the way from the beginning. You got to think about the farmer that planted it and the seed and how it grew from the ground, something from nothing, and how it decomposed and then grew, and then Hashem allowed the rain to come, and then it's all the way from there to be ground by Yossi Reber in the morning to be put into a cup to say a bracha just to connect to the Ein Sof. Yeah, you gotta take the whole picture. You can't just think about the cup of coffee because that just goes down your throat, makes you feel good, and it's over.
You got to think about the methylxanthines that God made when He invented
The methylxanthines.
Yes, the
methylxanthine, which is the compound in the coffee that gives you the zing that came from the Garden of Eden.
Dr. Ressman, we have a rule over here: no 4-syllable words. I'm sorry.
You lost me at meth, doctor.
But I have a friend who makes wine. 7 Gates is his company. 7 Gates. 7 Gates. He when he says Be'er Pri Hagafen, as you're saying, Zev, he has all different appreciation for that bracha. He's there. Be'er Pri Hagafen. Okay, so we're on page 72. Okay, thank you for asking.
I am Bays. That's a good page.
Okay, we're talking about. Okay, just to recap. Thank you for asking that because everyone, you think everyone. All right, we're talking about the teaching of our sages. They said, look at 3 things and you'll never make mistakes. Look at the fact that there's an eye that sees you, there's an ear that hears you, and whatever you do is written down in a book. You look at that, you won't make mistakes. And the emphasis of our sages is not just you should know about it. They use the word look at it. And we're saying when something's vivid in front of your eyes, it has a much more profound impact. It has much more physical impact. Meaning, if I could picture Hashem looking at me in a very down-to-earth way, that will have a very physical impact on what I do. I'll do different things. I'm not talking about seeing Hashem himself. I'm talking about seeing his reality, knowing for sure that he's there and looking at you, as if I saw him, as if I saw him. So if I would be able to.
Oh, Moshe, right here. Oh my God, Moshe, how are you?
And you're Joshua. Moshe wants to teach Joshua. Yeshua. Handsome. Let's focus. So we said that if there's a way that some people have a gift, they could naturally have a vivid perception, as if they see how Hashem is listening to them, as if they see that Hashem is looking at them. Some people have that. The Mishnah is telling us all to be like that. But there are some souls that just naturally have that. And some souls, like the Rebbe, exactly, and some souls, like most of us, don't have that. And we have to work on that. We don't have, no, not at all. No, I'm sorry. So that's the playing field. That's what we're talking about. So in this discussion, we started focusing on the end of the sentence. Is look at three things and you won't come to a sin. And we concluded yesterday with saying that when you have a good thought, we discussed last night, when you have a good thought to do something, so then God considers it as if you did it. You have a bad thought, do something wrong, God doesn't consider it as if you did it. But when you really want to do something, it's not just that God considers it as if you did it. We said that the Rebbe says if you really want to do something, you think to do something in Torah and mitzvahs and good character, and you want it with all your heart and might, Hashem will arrange divine providence that you'll be able to get that thing done. That's with good thoughts. With bad thoughts, first of all, you don't get credited on your account as if you did something bad. You only just thought about it, number one. But number two, we were specifically interested in knowing what what actually changes in your relationship to making mistakes when you see Hashem looking at you. That's what we're up to. We want to know exactly what changes in regards to your approach to life. We said if you look at three things, you won't come to sin. It sounds like not only you will not actually do sins, you won't even think about doing sins. They won't be in your purview. Let's go to top of 72. All that we said till now is in the positive side. If you want to do something good, so Hashem considers it as if you did it. And Hashem will help you actually do that. It's on the positive side. But in the negative side, God does not consider a bad thought as if you did it. Although God does not consider it as if you did it, however, there's still some trace in the soul from the bad thought. There's still some trace of that bad thought in you. You thought about doing something wrong, chas v'shalom. So there is something that stays there. And unfortunately, in this instance, that doesn't mention it here, but in this instance, it's actually the opposite. A bad thought it's harder to erase than a good thought. Is the benefit of the good thought in your soul, it doesn't have as strong of an effect as a bad thought in your soul. A bad thought it makes things a little bit not as pristine as they were before. However, by looking at Hashem and looking at how there's an eye that sees and the ear that hears you, and there's all that you do is written down by having that vivid perception, that cleanses you, that cleans you from all the effect of the bad thoughts. The bad thoughts have an effect on you, but having that vivid perception of Hashem, that cleans you from negative thoughts. Right. What?
It's difficult to go through life and have negative thoughts all the time. Negativity just pops up. And there's something, things that happen every day, and you don't control it.
So
I have negative thoughts, but I don't control those thoughts.
Okay, so we did say that we do control our thoughts because
you know what's right, we know what's wrong. You don't feel so. I haven't thought of it. You know what? I would love to punch this person in the face. But if you do that, you get in trouble for one, and it's wrong.
So,
It's common sense, intuition, right?
You could-
Hashem speaks to us and says, hey, Josh, do you really want to do that now? You know that cartoon, we got the angel on the one side, and the devil on the one side? It's like that.
But is the to have the
I'm not your rabbi, see?
I want
Oh,
to,
great.
I want to punch this guy in the face. Just having the thought is not wrong. Even though you don't take it.
listen.
For human.
No, listen.
That's my point. That's my point.
I want to tell you. Okay, the Torah says about Yosef HaTzadik that Yosef HaTzadik was kind to his brothers. His brothers threw him into a pit, and he did the opposite to them. Right? So the Alter says in Tanya, as soon as you have a thought in your mind of jealousy or anger, any trace of being upset at someone, you want to do something, you should right away push it out of your mind and do the exact opposite.
Easier said than done.
I'm not saying it's not easy. I'm not saying it's possible. You're saying it's impossible that our thoughts control us. The first thought that comes to your mind, indeed, is something that comes because of your persona, because of how your makeup.
Control that animal soul.
But the second,
Control it.
Easier said than
The
done.
animal soul gets you in trouble.
So-
I'm the first one to know.
so
Control that animal soul.
You should be an actor.
I am.
wow, and you should be a director. Okay, Aveda Zu. This effort to see how Hashem is looking at us, to see how Hashem is listening to us, to see how Hashem is writing whatever we do down, this effort to make that real is called the food of faith. Just like the matzah we eat on night of Passover. That Rizal says eating that matzah nourishes your faith for the whole year. So this effort of trying to make this real to you, this is called the food of faith. Just like when you eat food, that causes all of your various energies to be connected to your body. You're able to think better and feel better and see better and hear better and everything better. When you eat, your eating causes your soul and your body to be more connected and all your soul's energies to be more alive and more vibrant and more directed and accurate. Next page, der hair from der Heiligkeit was the status.
What? Their hair. What was that? You heard their hair?
Okay, so just like when you eat food, it causes you to have this that you're more alive, your soul's more connected to your body. So too, by having the food of faith and making this effort to make Hashem real to you, that causes you to have a different sense of the holiness of Torah, the letters of the Torah, the ideas of Torah, to just feel how holy Torah is. And also when you daven, to actually have a feeling for what you know, for what you understand is true. Not just to say the words, but to actually feel what you understand in davening is the truth. We're not talking about understanding what you're saying in davening, not just understanding if this is true. Rather, what are we saying? What's the right word? What's my next word? Not just to understand that, but you also feel it. Exactly. Das, which means to feel. There are many different ways this could happen, every different levels. Every single person, according to where they're up to in life, many different ways. And that's what the Torah means when it says, I've planted, God says, two kinds of souls, the soul of man and the soul of the animal. There are two different kinds of souls. The souls of the world of Atzilus, the highest world, they're called the seed of man. And the souls of the worlds beneath that, which are most souls, they are called the seed of the animal. So what is the playing field for these two kinds of souls? There are two different kinds of knowledge. One is to have a das in a way that you hear something to be true. You hear it. Next page, and then there's a higher kind of das where not just you know it as well as something you hear from trustworthy friends, but it's as real to you as something you actually see with your eyes. So the tzaddikim, those who have the higher kind of soul, their level of das is directly associated with seeing something very vividly. And the other souls, all of us, our version of das is more in the realm of hearing something from trustworthy friends. It's not as vivid. It's not. That's where we're up to. That's what we're able to do, and but still, the important point is not that we're have-nots. The important point is that where we're meant to be, where we're up to, what we're able to achieve. We're able to achieve a level of das. We're able to achieve a level of das that would transform our life experience, and it is a not as great as tzaddikim, have a vivid see Hashem, but it's something that we're able to cultivate and make real to us. Any questions or comments or criticism with tomatoes or cucumbers?
One question.
Yes.
Das is just a more concentrated version of Chachma. A little bit more, it's Chachma, but attitude plus, I guess.
There's a wealth of information with the subject, and what you're saying definitely touches on an aspect of it, but there's more to say about it. Das is not just that a concentrated form of Chachma. Das is how you're able to take that pristine truth, you're able to make it yours. The pristine truth, the way it really is, and that's my truth. I feel that way.
Higher level or a little bit.
Well, it's a lower level in a way, because I'm making what's true, I'm bringing it down to me. I'm explaining it.
Well, okay.
In the court case analogy, I'm discussing it and I'm explaining it and going through it, right? And then I suddenly say, this is the way it has to be. And all of a sudden, I'm not able to have a discussion with anybody else, because I'm convinced. I've changed now. It's no longer been a discussion. In Das, there's the logic that's present. In Chachma, there's no logic that's present yet. Chachma is just a pristine sixth sense. This is the truth. In Das, there's logic that's present, and I've taken that logic, and that logic has become me. The logic has become me.
Is that maybe why when we finish our prayers, we finish them with the prayer, Altiris, I have carried you, I've made you, I will carry you, I will sustain you, I will deliver you to your, to your hoary ears. I mean, that's the final faithful we vividly say to ourselves, forgive any bad thoughts I've had during my davening, whatever. I have a vivid, perception of what you are doing for me.
Wow.
It's how we seal our prayers. We've prayed. We got Shema, Amida, this and that. We say, God, I believe in you.
Dr. Bressman, those are words of an ovid, of someone who works on himself and davening every day. So you're giving us insight. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know what that was about. Now I know. Shkoyach. A great Shabbos, Aryeh. Good Shabbos, Yitzchak. Good Shabbos, Dr. Bressman. Later.